Let's discuss some problems regarding percentage. So here are the different methods that we need to identify or to know when we are trying to solve problems regarding percentages. So first, you have to identify the rate, base, and the percentage in percentage problem. So there are always three things that are involved: the rate, the base, and the percentage. And we have to remember this formula. The P is equivalent to R multiplied by the B. So the P here stands for the percentage, the R is the rate, and the B is the base. So it's very important that we are to identify, or we will be able to identify which of the three is the percentage, the rate, or the base. So let's take a look at this first example. If 58% of the office workers prefer coffee and there are 600 workers, how many prefer coffee? So this is an example of a problem wherein we are actually looking for the 58% of the total number of workers. So as you notice, there is 600 here. When this 600, which is the number of workers, pertains or is actually the base. So how are we going to answer this? So the first thing that we have to do is to again remember the formula that we have, which states that the percentage is equal to the 58% or the rate multiplied by the base, which is now in this case 600. So how do we do that? 58%, there is already another video I made on how you could change your percent to fraction or to decimal. So there are actually two different methods, but one of this is to change the 58% in terms of a fraction. So percent means per 100. That means we have 58 over 100. And then we can multiply that by, of course, you have your 600 over 1. That's understood to have a denominator of 1. And making use of your cancellation process, we could just cancel the 100 with the 600 here, making now your 100 as 1, and the 600 is 6. So therefore, if you are going now to multiply 58 by 6, so 6 times 8, that is equivalent to 48. And then 30 plus 4 is equivalent to 34. Which simply means that there are 348 people out of the 600, 348 of them prefer coffee. So this 348 is the 58% of the workers. Now this is with the use of what we call the percent being changed to fraction. Now the other method that you can also use is the division or the multiplication. So instead of having the 58% changed into the fraction, it's also possible that we change that into 0.58, because 58% has the equivalent of 0.58 in decimal. So 0.58 multiplied by 600. This is another way of doing it. And then if you are going to multiply this, of course, there will be two zeros that you have to append, two zeros, and then multiply 6 times 8. Again, you have 48. And then you regroup 4. 3 times or 5 times 6 is 30, plus the 4 is 34. But there are two decimal places which are involved. So there you have it. Therefore, we need to put that, making now your answer equal to 348.00, or simply the answer that we will be getting there is also equivalent to 348, which is still similar to the one that we got a while ago when you use the fractional equivalent. So it's just up to you whether you are going to change your percent into fraction. Okay, but this is advisable especially if the number or the base is divisible by 100 or to decimal. Anyway, you are arriving at the same answer. So again, that is an example of a problem regarding finding for the percentage of a number. Okay, another example. Okay, if 40% of the registered voters in a community of 5,600 prefer BBM, how many voters are voting for BBM? So you will notice here that 40%, this refers to the rate. Actually, that is one clue for you to determine the rate. The one with the percent sign is considered as the rate. And so therefore, how are we going to solve for this problem? We simply have the percentage is equivalent to the 40%. We have again the 40%, and we are multiplying that with the total voters in the community, which is 5,600. Okay, so 5,600. Now, what are we going to do? If you are doing it in fraction, again, that 40% will be changed to 40 over 100. And the 5,600, we just have to let that become 5,600 all over 1, so that you will not be confused whether that 5,600 is in the numerator or in the denominator. So looking into this, again, you can cancel the 100 with the 5,600. So by 100, this will now become 56, and that will become 1. And multiplying 40 and 56, so there is 1 0, so we just have to copy that. 4 times the 6 there is 24, and you have to regroup 2, so 4 times 5 is 20, plus the 2 is 22. So out of the 5,600 voters, 2,240 are for BBM. Now, what if you are going to use the decimal form? Now, you have 40%, so moving the decimal point 2 places, we will just have 0.40 or simply 0.4. That's the decimal equivalent of the 40%. So 0.4 multiplied by 5,600. So if you are going to do that, again, 2 zeros will be written. So 2 zeros, then multiply 6 and 4. That will give you a 24. You have to regroup 2. 4 times 5 is 20, plus the 2 is again 22. And now there is one decimal place, so it's just proper that you do the same thing in the product. So resulting now to 2,240, because that 0 here is already meaningless. You can just drop that. Therefore, you have the same answer, which is 2,240. That is now the 40% of the 5,600. So basically, when you are looking for the percentage, what you need to do is to simply multiply the rate with the base. So that if you have some examples like this, 50% of 90, you can actually answer this easily, because 50% would mean 1/2. So remember, 50% is actually equivalent to 1/2 of the number. Why? If you are going to look into that one, 50% means 50 over 100. And referring to 50 over 100, that is, these are both divisible by 50, making it equal to 1/2. Therefore, what is 1/2 of 90? It is as simple as equal to 45. So those are actually percentages problems that you can mentally solve. Now, 10% of 180, how can you simplify or how can you answer the 10% of 180? You can just move the decimal point one place, okay, to the left, because 10% is actually 10 over 100, and that simply means that if you are going to have 10 over 100, that is the same as 1 over 10. And this simply means that we are dividing the number by 10. Okay, and therefore, if you are getting the 10% of this number, which is 180, our answer is as simple as 18. This is actually very applicable, especially when it comes to discount problems. Now, you have 115% of 700. So this is a scenario or a case wherein you are expecting an answer which is more than the 700, because this is more than 100%. 100% of 700 alone is already 700, and there is another extra 15%. Okay, so one method is we can actually have 100% of 700 is 700 plus the 15% of 700. But we can also solve this in such a way that we will just simply have the 115% over, or 115 over 100, and we are going to multiply that by 700. Okay, so we can cancel the 100 with the 700, making this 700 now into 7. And if you are going to multiply 7 and 115, okay, 7 and 5, that gives us a 35. So there you have 5. You regroup 3, put it on top of the 1. 7 times 1 is 7 plus the 3, you have a 10. So you have to regroup also again the 1 there. And 7 times 1 is 7 plus 1 is equivalent to 8. So 805. Okay, or the other method, the one I have mentioned a while ago, you can actually have the 100% of the 700. So 100% plus the 15%. Okay, so if you are going to look into that one, the only thing that you have to solve is the 15% of the 700. If you are going to do that, 15% will be changed to 15 over 100. Multiply this by 700 over 1. And if you are going to look for this again, you have to cancel the 100 with the 700, making this now equal to 7. And 7 times 15, you have there 35. You have a 3 as your the Greek group number. So 7 plus 3 is equivalent to 10. So 105. But remember, there is an existing 100% of the 700, and that is the same as the 700. So adding now the 100%, which is 700, to 105, you are again getting the 805. And that is the 100% of 700. Now, we have here 12.5% of the 400. So as you noticed, we have a decimal percent here. But again, that's just the same. We will just get 12.5 and then over 100. Okay? And after doing that, 12.5 over 100, again, we need to multiply that by 400 over 1. And canceling now, using the cancellation process, 100 will cancel the 400 there, and that will now become 4. The 400 becomes 4, while the 100 becomes 1. So what do we have here? It's simply 12.5 multiplied by 4. So 12.5 multiplied by 4 will give you, so if you are going to multiply that, you have a 20. So regroup 2, and that becomes now 8. 8 plus the 2 is 10. So you have to regroup 1. And 4 times 1 plus 1 is equivalent to 5. But remember, there is a decimal point that you have there. So therefore, the answer that we will be getting for the 12.5% of 400 is equal to 50. So this is now the answer, 50. Okay, another thing that you could do here, 12.5 plus 12.5 is actually 25%. And when you say 25%, that is the same as 1/4. So 1/4 of 400 is equal to 100, correct? Okay, so if you are getting the half of the 25%, that is now the 12.5%, meaning if you will also get the half of that 100 is equal to 50. So you can also have that as a simplified or simple solution. Now you have here your 33 and 1/3% of 72. So this is now a case wherein we have a complex fraction because as you notice, 33 and 1/3% all over 100. Now, if you can remember that 33 and 1/3% is equivalent to 1/3, that's okay. But if not, you can now have the solution. So again, we have to change this into its fractional equivalent. So how do we do that? We have to change the 33 and 1/3 into its improper form, making that now 100 over 3. And we are multiplying that with the reciprocal of 100, which is 1 over 100. Again, this is simply the equivalent of the 33 and 1/3%. But it will be better if you remember that. Okay, 33 and 1/3% is simply 1/3. So that once you have this problem, 33% or 33 and 1/3% of a certain number, you simply just have to divide your number by 3 or multiply by 1/3. So doing this, the answer that you will be getting is simply the 72 divided by 3, which is equal to 24. So that is how we solve for the percentage of a number. Again, you just remember that percentage is equivalent to the rate multiplied by the base. That's the formula.